Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome to today's Chet Chat. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the Kenosha shootings. I actually had several requests to do a video on this, so I thought, what the heck, I'll go ahead and do it. I was originally, actually started making a video trying to consolidate into one video the officer-involved shooting and then the shooting by Kyle Rittenhouse, but I realized it's too much material to cover, so I'm going to cover them separately. So there'll be two videos. This video is just going to be on the officer-involved shooting. All right, so what happened? Based on the news reports that I've read, and I've tried to read from multiple sources, and this seems to, be fairly undisputed. The officers responded to a call for domestic violence or some type of violence, and the subject on the scene, the decedent, or I'm sorry, he's not dead. The guy that got shot was a known violent criminal to the officers. He had prior convictions for brandishing deadly weapons, for carrying weapons. I believe there was a sex offense in there, but there were multiple prior violent convictions on his record, and the officers knew of this. My understanding is that they had dealt with him in the past. This is very common in police work. You deal with the same, people. You work the same beat, that sort of thing. So they knew they were dealing with someone that had a propensity for violence. They were attempting to make some kind of arrest or detention, and he fought with them. I believe he did have a knife on him, which by every state's definition is a deadly weapon when it's used in that manner. So he had in his possession a deadly weapon, and I believe it was a karambit knife, which would be one of those knives that under any definition would be considered a deadly weapon because it's specifically intended for that use. It's not a utility knife. It doesn't really have much utility other than for violence against humans. He got away from the officers. They were fighting on the ground. There was a struggle. There was a full-blown fight. And he was able to get up and get away from the officers, circled around the car. Officers drew their weapons, ordered him to stop. He refused. Continued toward his car door. Officers ordered him to stop, to not open the car door. He did not listen to that. And he opened the car door, and he reached in the car door, and that's when they shot. What do you think the officers thought he was going for in the car? The question is, was it reasonable for the officers to be in fear for their safety? Thinking that, okay, what other possible reason would he be going into a car? You think he was going into the car to get his driver's license and registration? It wasn't a traffic stop, okay? He already had some type of weapon on him. He had fought with the police, got away from them. There is another video of Highway Patrol where almost this exact type of situation happened, and the officers didn't shoot, and the guy reaches in, gets a gun, and starts shooting both of the officers. Luckily, those officers lived because I believe they're bulletproof vests. But here's one thing I want, and this is kind of moving a little bit away from legal analysis and delving a little bit more into combatives training and firearms training. This myth that you shoot somebody one time and it immediately stops them, it's just that, a myth, okay? Study ballistic reports. Watch videos of shootings. You don't shoot somebody one time and that immediately incapacitates them, okay? It's especially with a handgun. That's not happening. So this whole idea of, oh, they shot him 7 times, this guy's reaching in, you start shooting. You shoot until the threat stops. And biologically, it is perfectly possible that you shoot someone 5, 6, 7 times and they're still able to function. Okay? Think about it. He's not dead. He's probably not going to die. And he got shot 7 times. So what does that tell you? So the fact that he was shot 7 times should not outrage people, okay? When you're having that life or death response and your mind tells your trigger finger, start pulling the trigger, that trigger is going to go. That trigger finger is going to pull. You're going to continue to shoot until your eyes perceive that the threat has stopped, and then your brain sends the message down to your finger, okay, you can stop pulling the trigger now. So if you think the fact that he was shot 7 times necessarily implies an excessive force, that's wrong, okay? And that, I understand where you're coming from, but that just simply demonstrates that you don't really have any experience dealing with this sort of thing, actually being in life and death encounters, doing force-on-force training, studying from people that have been in life and death encounters and having that type of knowledge. The fact that he was shot in the back. Look, if someone is reaching to get a weapon, you do not have to wait until the weapon is pointed at you before you shoot. Why? Because action always beats reaction, okay? You can't shoot and incapacitate someone in time if you wait until you're staring down the barrel of a gun, okay? You do some training. I've been to training exercises where, to prove this point, they will literally have somebody draw an airsoft gun or a BB gun or something like that and point it at someone who has their weapon holstered. And they said, okay, well, shoot me when you realize that I'm shooting you or whatever. And they draw their gun and shoot. Now, how is that possible? The first person actually has their pistol drawn already, you say. They would beat them every time, right? No, because action beats reaction. Because the time that it takes for you to perceive what the person's doing, mentally process it, and then pull the trigger can, not always, can sometimes be slower than the person who's doing the proactive action. So it is foolish, it is reckless, it's unreasonable to expect someone to wait to shoot until they're actually looking down the barrel of the gun, or even see a gun for that matter. And if you disagree, and if you think, oh, what I'm saying is complete malarkey, excuse me, sorry, I would encourage you to sign up for some kind of force-on-force training. Sign up for a defensive tactics class, an active shooter class, and do this, and actually deal with these kind of situations. You'll see. It never fails. So, in my judgment, officer involved shooting, completely justified. Has nothing to do with race. That guy would have got shot regardless of what color he was. To me, this isn't even a close one. Okay, this isn't even close. So, yeah.